Hello, everyone. It is August 23rd, and today the church celebrates the feast day of St. Rose of Lima, a beautiful saint in our church's tradition. And today in our gospel, Jesus is chiding the Scribes and the Pharisees because they are continually showing forth this front of being these religious leaders who are holier than thou, and yet they do not practice what they preach, or it's not actually showing forth the fruit of holiness in their lives. He says how they can purify all of these dishes, they can do ceremonial washings, yet inside they are not becoming clean themselves. They're not truly being purified by the grace of God. They're using all of these almost as weapons to control the people. And sometimes, maybe not in that same degree, we can fall into the same thing if we really reflect on it. That we can be religious, that we can be prayerful, and yet we know that we're not perfect in our lives. How many times do we go to prayer in one moment and just a few moments later we can go to gossiping about a person? Or how many times is it that we can go to Mass on Sunday and then do something rather selfish and be fighting even on the way home from that Mass? We know we're not perfect. And it's not a reason for us to step away from a life of holiness or a life of growth in holiness, but rather it's an invitation for us to put our trust even deeper in the grace of God, to be encouraged by the way that He is always willing to take us back and forgive us when we've done wrong. St. Paul is encouraging the Thessalonian people in his letter that we hear in the first reading today, encouraging them to continue on in the ways of faith, even when they experience weakness, even when they experience their own sinfulness. That's got to be true for us as well. We have to allow ourselves to be picked up by God's grace, to not allow ourselves to be shamed into this place of despair, thinking we'll never make it along the way of holiness. That's not the voice of God, it's the voice of the evil one. St. Rose of Lima shows us what a life of holiness and discipline looks like. She took on the third order habit of the Dominicans and lived an austere life of prayer and penance. Not necessarily just for herself, but praying for others as well. And she did that as a beautiful young woman. She took on that habit knowing that she wanted to dedicate her life to God. In some way or another, that has to be our goal as well, to dedicate our lives to God in whatever vocation it is that we have. To say, Lord, all of this is for you. All of this comes to you. And even when I fail, you're there to pick me up. Allow those failures even to be glorified in your perfection. Because the Lord perfects us even in those times when we fail. So we ask the Lord today to do that, just that for us, to help us to be perfected by His grace and not to grow weary when we fall along the way. Let us be encouraged by God and His mercy for us, so that we might walk the path of perfection and reach holiness and sainthood one day.